it's a pretty robust product, up to 180 watts in power consumption, more like 150 in your typical AC type deployment. It's got 2 gig ePorts for backhaul. It's capable of daisy chaining. All the standard channel sizes. GPS is on board, and you've got a whole range of smart antenna technologies that come as part of this base station. And without boring you with the details that you can read on a data sheet, which you guys are welcome to download from either our website or get from Moonblink, I think what I would like to explain to you guys is where we like to see this type of product deployed and how it applies to the type of business models that you guys have. So we view this type of product being deployed primarily for increased urban coverage. And what you see on the top left side is our customer in Panama City deploying these for that type of application. For indoor penetration, which is a very big and important piece of how these types of networks are deployed. Again, to get the maximum long-range coverage, and of course the issue of rural foliage is very big in some parts of the country and the world, and this is the ideal product to overcome those challenges. And what I'd like to do is share with you a little bit of a case study. I think, again, your results may vary, as they say, but I think this really demonstrates the type of power and capability of a base station such as this. So, this is one of our customers. We actually came out with a press release with these guys a couple of months ago. The name of the customer is SATCO, South Arkansas Rural Telco Cooperative. They basically this case study that I'm about to show you is the trial that they did based on which they decided to later deploy our network. So essentially what you see here is a water tower. They deployed the base station on the water tower, about 160 feet in the air, and they did, your typical range testing and so forth. What you see in this next slide is a building sort of in the background. We've sort of increased that area. You can sort of see the top of that water tower in the back, and the test that they did for indoor penetration was done in the building at the foreground of the picture, on deep inside the building. So what they did, and we were actually very skeptical of this, is they said, we want to test to see how well this penetrates. They decided to take a laptop. This is about half a mile from the base station, use a USB device to connect to the base station, and put it inside this vault. And as I said, your results may vary, because I'm not going to stand here and say that we can penetrate vaults as a matter of course. But in their case, they were able to demonstrate broadband speeds, and you can see the actual speed test done in that vault through 3 layers of concrete, about half a mile from the base station, with a USB type device. And I think that really gives you a sense of the type of application and the type of use case we see our operators using the 6600. They're using this type of base station where they really need to either go through multiple walls, penetrate into buildings a large distance from the base station, go through dense vegetation, and so forth. So this product is designed for maximum non-line of sight coverage, and I will say we think we're the best in the industry at what we do on that front. So that's the 6600. Now, a very nice bonus that you get with the 6600 is something that we call the OmniWave 3-sector configuration. So this is a regular PureWave Quantum 6600, but it can be deployed as 3 separate sectors, sharing the available capacity. So about 48 megabit of aggregate throughput can be shared over this one base station, but instead of connecting one panel antenna with 6 antennas blasting, full power for maximum penetration, you can use this with 3 sector antennas and sort of share the capacity, cover 360 degrees. And the reason I'm telling you about this is fantastic if you guys have a small community type area to deploy in, or you're trying to cover a campus environment. You don't yet have a large number of customers, and as your uptake grows, as you add more customers, as the demand for data grows, you can simply then, replace the antennas and start using all 6 in one sector and add other ones to cover the remaining area. This is a fantastic way, we think, for small operators to essentially start deploying in areas where they don't yet have coverage, and then allow their network to grow over time. So we're seeing a lot of adoption for this type of model, deployment with the base station, and again, this is the regular 6600 with a full 6 transmit, 6 receive antenna. Nothing special, no special build or anything like that. So let me talk a little bit about the Quantum 2200, which follows what we feel is the small cell concept, and this is essentially the same radio platform, same maturity level, runs the same software, but we reduced the build inside, such that there's only 2 RF chains in this box. In every other respect, they're identical. It's identical to the 6600. It's carrier grade, very, very robust type solution. It's available right now for 3.65 gigahertz band, and we're coming out with a 3.5 and 2.5 gigahertz band for these. And again, 2 watts per antenna, subject to your local restrictions and how you deploy. But we think this again is a very capable product that begins to address some of the challenges of the small cells that we raised before. We view this type of product being used in urban small cells, in campus-like environments. For example, I mentioned Satco before. This is a classic type of solution for those guys, covering these campuses and adding. We see some folks deploying 3 or 4 of these in the single campus because they really want to pump out a lot of capacity, a lot of throughput. Small communities, of course, and then gap filling. Those are the types of things that we're seeing this type of product used for. The product was introduced about 3 months ago and is now shipping. I always like to compare the 2200 to some of the other products that are on the market there without sort of mentioning names in terms of you guys probably have all heard of other 2x2 solutions out there, and I'll say that a big one of our competitors that was in the news today, in fact, they have a product that has a 2x2 solution for WiMAX. If you look at that product, it's 0.3 watt per antenna. Another one of our big competitors has a 1 watt per antenna type solution. We have a full 2 watts per antenna, 6 times more power than the other major competitor that I was mentioning. It's a very robust product. It is carrier grade. This product was designed to be deployed by the largest operators and is seeing some large rollouts around the world. I will caution, though, if your guys' main sort of thrust or your main objective here is to cover as much ground as possible, extend your coverage, that is probably not the ideal product. The 6600 would give you a much better link budget because of the 6 antenna transmit receive capability. So, if you guys are trying to sort of decide between the two, 2200 is a lower price point. It requires less power. It's meant for small cells. In all performance respects, except for the number of RF chains, it's exactly identical to the Quantum 6600. So, 6600 probably used for indoor penetration, optimal long-range coverage. 6600 is also available in more frequencies at present, but that's going to be cleared up pretty quickly, we hope. So that's kind of story there. One thing I didn't cover in the presentation here, which strikes me as something that some of you guys may be interested in, is our network management capabilities. We have very, very robust and advanced network management capabilities with these products. We have telnet capabilities. We have web interface capabilities and a full-blown EMS, NMS with everything, all the bells and whistles you can think of, including fault management, alarms, extensive provisioning, discovery, maps built in, and so forth. A very, very robust system that we're very proud of, and we'd be happy to chat with you more about that. But I think this is basically my presentation and my allotted time for my talking, and I'd be happy to take the questions that are out there. I believe we have several.
Okay, great. Thanks, Ronen. Yeah, we do. We have quite a few questions here. I'll just kind of start at the top, Ronen, and let you fire away here. So first question here is, do you ever see WiMAX moving into the unlicensed bands?
So I think that's a great question, and there's two ways to answer this. So let me start by answering this in the commercial sense. So as of now, we have a product in 365, which is a semi-licensed band. We chose that, to be honest with you, primarily because of device availability. So there's many good things about being sort of device neutral and using whatever the ecosystem has out there. There's also one drawback, and that is that we have to have somebody manufacture devices. So PureWave is a very flexible company. We introduce whatever frequencies folks would like to see in the market, and we do that pretty fast. The challenge is there needs to be a device partner that introduces devices for that frequency, and that has always been a big challenge. So I do see WiMAX potentially moving into some of the unlicensed bands, but I see that happening gradually and primarily in the vertical type applications. Now, I'll also say something else, which is, WiMAX was developed as a carrier-grade technology. The assumption behind it was that it would handle, it would be operated in licensed bands. So into the standard, there are not a lot of good interference mitigation rejection techniques built into it. So, any product that comes out in those unlicensed bands is unlikely to be, true standard WiMAX that can be used with any type of device that you guys can buy. So long story short, yes, I do envision unlicensed bands for WiMAX. It's going to take time, and primarily it's going to come in the vertical spaces. And two, consider interference as an important thing to look at if and when you decide to test something like that.
There's a couple of questions here asking if we'll have access to the presentation, and the answer to that is yes. We've recorded the presentation. We'll be sending out a follow-up email to everyone with a link to the presentation. Next question here. What frequency were you using when they were testing inside the vault?
That specific deployment was done in 2.5 gigahertz.
We have a question here about
maybe just to be lawyerly about this thing. Your results may vary, guys. If I'm an operator, I don't deploy WiMAX to cover vaults, but I thought it was an interesting anecdote to share with everybody.